And welcome back.
Yes, so our last segment, we are joined by Mr. Jeremy Enriquez, and we'll be discussing stress management. So welcome and good morning.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be back here. I feel like it's like coming home to the studio.
Well, you know, we know you're a mindfulness instructor, and
Yes.
It's such a fascinating topic to discuss, and how it can be helpful in so many different ways. Stress management is really only one of them, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to discuss a little bit about what is stress and some of the things people stress out about. What are those things that bring
What
stress?
don't we stress out about, right?
And then also look at the impact on our minds and our bodies from prolonged stress, and then propose, and then we do a short mindfulness practice.
Okay.
So what is stress then is more the gap between our expectations and our reality. I brought this rubber band kind of to show stress. So you have the current reality, and here's what we expect. And the more we expect a different reality or work, then you have this stress in between. So we could either rise to this expectation that we have and we work towards it, and that is what we call perhaps the good stress.
Yeah.
Or we could just relax and just leave it and just stay. But everything that we want to achieve will have this stress factor. So that's one. So the wider the gap, the more stress. So this stress is basically created by our own thoughts. And these thoughts bring rise to emotions and different stress. So the root of all stress is actually within the self. If our mind, how our minds, the habits, patterns of our mind to deal with different life situations that do not happen in the way that we would like it to happen. And so we stress out about it. There is one popular, so all stress is self-created. And there's one popular quote from a Buddhist monk that I remember. He asked, "Do you have a problem?" And if you say no, then why worry? Do you have a problem? If you say yes, can you do something about it? Yes, then why worry? Do you have a problem? If you say yes, and then if you say sorry, and can you do something about it? No, then why worry? So a lot of the stress is actually self-generated. We create that, to bring that upon ourselves.
Now, I think you're so right in terms of you could be stressed about anything and everything. But there are some very common ones. You know, I think the stress of providing for your family is always one that's hard, especially if things are a bit tighter than you can manage. And also the stress within your workplace, whether it is the stress to perform, or sometimes just a stressful work environment in general. What are some of the things that you recommend in terms of being able to choose where you're going to put your focus? If it's about feeding your kids, yes, you have to focus on it. But if it's a worrying about a toxic environment or people who are toxic, then maybe you can let that one go. How do you manage?
First, there's also something to remember, that we suffer stress not from the things that are happening, but really from our judgment and our interpretation of what is happening outside. A lot of things that are happening outside, we tend to interpret as though it is happening to us, rather than it is just happening. And so how we interact with those realities, how we say it is affecting us or not, it makes the difference. So some people could be stressed by one thing, while another person could experience the same situation and not be stressed about it. But it depends on the quality of the mind that you bring to it. So but there are stresses in relationships, definitely. There are stresses in the jobs, there are stresses from people not making ends meet. It's really difficult. But then the question comes back. Can you do something about it?
Yeah.
And what can you do about it? And so finding ways to manage how you personally are benefiting or not benefiting from the situation, whether it's a relationship or whether it is in your job, whether you have some very mean, hurtful persons that are very demeaning, that could bring stress and cause a toxic work environment. And so, how do you as an individual manage within those settings? Can you continue to absorb those situations, or sometimes there are times that you just need to leave and to quit? Otherwise, it could be toxic also for you as a person.
Jeremy, you're such a calm guy. People probably say you never get stressed out. Is that the case?
There are good stresses and there are stresses that are destructive.
What's good stress?
If you stress that is eventually beneficial for you. If you want to gain something, you have a goal, then you work towards that. So you have, let's say, exams to take. Of course, you're going to stress out, but you know in the end it's going to be beneficial for you, as opposed to being in a destructive environment, and you know, or maybe don't know, but in the end you will continue to be destroyed by that situation.
And you know, I was reading a study from, I think it was Stanford, I'm not too sure, I can't recall, and they were talking about how younger populations are way more stressed than older ones because of social media.
Because they're worrying about perceptions.
And that wouldn't be good stress, because it won't really get you anywhere if you're looking at what someone else has that you don't have, you know.
That's a major problem affecting young people. In fact, it decreases their connection with themselves, which is a major source of stress. If you are not confident in yourself, if you have not developed that connection with yourself, then all the whims and fancies outside of yourself is going to stress you out some more, and it's going to cause you sometimes mental illnesses, physical illnesses as a result. So,
you know, I like that you spoke about some of the good stresses, because I always feel that, you know, people like to say, oh, don't stress out about anything. I don't believe that. I really don't. I feel that sometimes stress or an added pressure can be the push you need to be able to achieve things when you're working towards something. And the same like nerves, you know, everybody was, how do you get nervous? I need to get nervous because I care about the result. It's controlling the nervous feelings that really is important to me. So I'm glad that you said that, because, you know, you can't, in my opinion, go through life not caring, but you just have to know where you'll focus your energies.
Definitely. Imagine you are, and stress, the body's reaction to stress, the chemical changes in the body, sometimes it's there for you to protect yourself. Let us say you're in the forest and you see a jaguar coming and you say, I won't stress out, I'll just stay cool, and the jaguar is approaching.
The jaguar will sense that I'm worry-free and leave me alone.
You got to run first, so find a way to get out of it. So there are those stresses that will protect you. A lot of people, though, they find there are healthy ways of dealing with stress and very unhealthy way of dealing with stress. Some people get into situations and destroy themselves even more as a result of stress. They get into alcohol, they get into drugs, they get into all kinds of self-destructive behavior. But at the same time, as they do that, they live in a kind of denial that this is not affecting me. And slowly everybody could see, yes, you're destroying yourself. So it is a way of escaping sometimes deep pains within, from whatever relationships, from money, from whatever, sometimes even from their own health. People feel anxiety, depression, headaches, lowered immune system, and then to compound it, they seek escape rather than positive ways for dealing with stress.
And you know, I think any doctor would tell you that they usually ask, when they're doing their checkup in the conversation, they'll ask about your stress level, because stress affects your physical health.
Of course.
Things with hypertension and diabetes and stuff, those are natural, but even sometimes the headaches you have, sometimes the complications you have with your stomach are stress related, you know, especially when they can't find any other cause.
Sometimes it's an accumulation of mind states and thought patterns that make people produce hormones that are destructive, a concentration of these hormones in the body over and over and over. They lack sleep, and all of that will eventually destroy them because of not being able to manage the stress. So some wholesome ways to deal with the stress would include exercising regularly, that increases the endorphins in the body, it boosts the mood. People could tell you after they do a good workout, there's a good feeling that comes from that. And so that's a wholesome way to release stress. Sports, physical activity, moving, dancing, all of this, being involved in nature, taking walks through forests. There's something about nature that also heals if you're walking through forest and trees, and that area somehow absorbs that negative energy in the body. And we do not get enough of that, of being in nature, or in the waterfalls, or for some reason it is others who come to Belize to enjoy it.
Even seaside, like
or
you go
sitting on the seaside
early morning, it's so great.
Maintaining a healthy diet also is a wholesome way of, sometimes stress could also be diet related. Heavy sugars, heavy starch,
Lots of caffeine,
loads of meat in the diet, all of these things are also stressors. And so maintaining wholesome diet, reading quality books, gardening, the most important, or very important, is building relationship with positive people who could enhance, who you could turn to for guidance, for comfort, for confidence, having a creative hobby, resting well, but also taking time for relaxation, for fun, for yoga, for meditation. These have incredible long-term benefits. Those are ways to also deal with stress. And so positive relationship with people. But the mother of all ways to deal with stress that scientists are discovering more and more is meditation.
Okay.
Because meditation places your mind in a positive, in a most balanced way, so that when the ups and downs in life comes, you have a way of interpreting it that will make you respond and not react. A lot of people live just reacting. You just press a little button and there's a reaction. And meditation allows a person to step back, being able to maintain a balanced mind and being able to respond in ways that are to produce more beneficial results. And response doesn't necessarily mean always just very suave and calm. Sometimes response could be also in a little bit of anger, in a little bit, but
could be
also
assertive,
very assertive, but from a place that is different from just reacting. It is from a place of compassion, empathy. It is trying new strategies for change. I always use the example for those in the Christian world about Jesus coming out of the desert so calm. So after 40 days meditating, and then he met some money changers in the temple, and his response is just to whip them out. He didn't say, well, these guys are selling in the temple, let us leave them. No, but it came from a deeper place, and the decision comes towards getting more beneficial results.
You know, you say meditation, and I've tried it before, but then my mind always wanders, and then I start thinking about everything under the sun. So it never really, maybe I'm doing it wrong. It's never really worked for me, you know. So how do you?
What did you expect it to do?
I was expecting to be more calm, you know.
In one meditation.
No, well, yeah. I guess maybe that's the problem right there. Maybe that's the problem right there. You know, but you know, I'm trying to, and I just start thinking about everything, and I forget that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So what I found to be very helpful, as I was telling him, and for all of Belize now, this is a TMI, before I read the news, I get like panic attacks. And what I find works is I do deep breathing.
Okay.
And so far that's been working.
Cool.
Usually
people, the difficulty with meditation, it's like, you know, it is a science of mind and body. You're exercising your mind to strengthen the mind. And it is like exercising the body. If you one day decide, well, good, I'm going to be fit, I'm going to plan an exercise schedule. I run the first morning and say, it's not working for me. I don't see no muscles yet on anything. Or if you're lifting weight and you say, well, it's the same thing people do with meditation. They think that, you will.
It's training your brain.
You got to train, and training means consistency of practice.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and so every new skill that you learn, if you're learning piano, the first time you run the scale, your fingers are all clumsy, or guitar and all the pain. But if you stop after the first few lessons, you'll never learn, right? And so meditation is definitely the same. You spend time, you lock some time, and you practice. The first time when you start that, of course, your mind is... But then all you're doing is being aware of how your mind really is. It's just wandering from place to place. It's called the monkey mind. Flittering from place to place. And that is what makes people stop, because it's a man, this mind just... But then that is why you need to do it more, you know?
And you're not unique. You're not the only person with a million thoughts at one time. Just in case you thought so. Everybody goes through it.
But the idea is not to stop your thoughts. Is to be aware of what thoughts are there, and then being able to choose which thoughts that you want to respond to. So these thoughts are like clouds, and your mind is like the sky. So the thoughts just keep floating by. But you cannot be reacting to every thought. You're just saying, okay, that's a thought. All right, that's the thought. I just let it pass. And you will find out, though, that the more you do that, so first your mind just flittering about. The more you do it, you get a more calm, balanced, stable mind. And if you are to use your body to mimic what your mind goes, for most people, they're living like just moving about very senselessly. It's like, let us say my body is my mind, your hand just going like this all over. It's like, rather than just reaching for what it wants and back. So it is getting the mind in balance.
Okay. So that's why you're going to teach us a little bit of how we can do this today.
Let us do an exercise.
Okay. Now, can I ask before we start, is it recommended that you take a class with someone, maybe for the first time?
That would be highly recommended to start with. But if not, you could do it on your own. There's various guided practice on YouTube.
There are apps for your phone.
There are apps on your phone. There's an app that I will use right now. It's called Insight Timer, where you could set the time. This time I'll set it just to start with for 3 minutes, or just 2 minutes for us to get a feel of it. But let me say first, if you want to get into practice, you set 10 minutes a day. You just lock that time. First thing in the morning maybe, and you see the first 10 minutes, I'll just sit and observe my breath. No, don't say I will sit to, sometimes saying I will sit to meditate might even create a kind of, just relax. You're just sitting and observing your breath. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. And there are 1,440 minutes a day. If you can't find 10 minutes for yourself, it's like saying you have $1,440, but you can't find $10 to eat. So I know I'll just waste it in something else. So 10 minutes you're investing in yourself. If everybody in this nation does it, it's going to make a whole difference. You go 10 minutes to 20 minutes. In fact, a whole generation could change if people consistently practice meditation. You know what? It changes the current mind state. And society right now is a reflection of collective mind states. So if we have a lot of anger and violence and crime and abuse and all that, it's actually only what is happening underneath. And we are failing in our schools, we are failing everywhere to address the core, the foundation of human life. And for as long as we continue to fail to address that, our nation will not change. So corruption comes from individual greed. Individual fear produces violence, crime, and all of that, abuse. Pain from individuals will be inflicted on others, their family, their children. And sometimes the person inflicting it might not even feel any remorse because it is a part of them. So 10 minutes a day, consistent practice will strengthen the mind, and you will move to 20 minutes. Just before we start, can I give one story that I attended a 10-day meditation course. I try to go every year. For 10 days, we're sitting 10 hours to 12 hours a day in 1 hour period, doing nothing, just observing the mind. No talking, no reading, no TV, no eye contact, no interaction. It's just you with 100 persons, 50 men, 50 women in this huge hall all day. You go eat, come back, meditate. Take a little break, meditate. Take a little walk, meditate. My roommate, and we're not allowed to speak, but after the course, so my roommate, I noticed was calm, serene, wonderful human being. But what I didn't know, if he had not told me, was that he went to war in Iraq and he went to war in Afghanistan. He was a professional sniper, and then he came back from war. He was totally wrecked. Wow. He went through psychiatric treatment, psychological treatment, all kinds of medication. He even tried. He was an alcoholic for a point. They beat up his wife. He was an angry person before. All the medications did not heal him until he tried meditation. A deep course purged out everything from within him, changed his mind state, and transformed him into... Now he's trying to advocate for everybody in the army to do that as a healing practice. So I just wanted to state that the very profound impact that people underestimate, and you will never ever experience the benefit until you try it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna give it a shot today. Not
It's
the
just
TV
a
version.
sample, yeah.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
A guided meditation.
So I have the inside timer.
Yeah.
I set it for 2 minutes, and then it will ring at the beginning and it will ring at the end.
Okay.
We will sit with our back straight. We'll observe each breath going in and out. Your mind will want to wander, but just bring it back. Just bring it relaxed back to your breath. Then it wants to go, and you just bring it back, and that's the exercise. It's very simple.
Just control
so
your thoughts, your
profound.
breath.
Yes. Not controlling the thoughts either, just observing the thought. Don't try to push it or anything, just accept it. Don't judge the thoughts, just say, all right, this is this thought. Just whatever thought arises, just accept it. When we try to push it, then it will stay. And then we're in trouble. So just observe it like clouds passing by, like you're watching a river passing by. Ready? Close your eyes, back straight. Just feel your shoulders relaxed. And I will ask you to just pay attention to your natural breath. Just observing the natural breath as it goes in and out. You're being present right where you are. Just observe. You might observe your mind wanting to wander at other things, but just gently bring the mind back. Just bring your observation to your breath. Just remain aware. Breathing in, you know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know that you're breathing out. Just remain aware. Special moment. Don't be concerned about what you have to do later or whatever. Just be right present where you are. Just this breath. Just remain aware. You might observe the breath entering through your left nostrils or through your right nostrils, or through both nostrils at the same time. Just observe. When you're ready, just slowly open your eyes. Just relax. That's a taste, just a sample.
That's 2 minutes of what would be 10 minutes. See, we all sound so much more relaxed. Yeah, was it difficult?
No. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So when you do it for 10 minutes, just stay there still, and whatever happens, just remain still and observe for 10 minutes. Just relax, observing.
Okay. Well, before we
have a
get
thought.
any more relaxed in this environment, we want to say thank you for being with us this morning. Of course, if people want to contact you to kind of find out more about how they can get into their own practice, how do they do so?
Rock Rhythm of Change has yoga, meditation, and different classes at their studio on 4th Street, right at Harborview Greens is the name of the place. And so I would strongly recommend that people call there. I don't have the number with me right now.
But they can find it on Facebook.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And there, currently I've been offering classes to different organizations, currently with some with women from Haven House.
Nice.
Different areas.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for coming in and giving us just this little taste as to what a mindfulness exercise would entail. We appreciate it, and we hope that people take into consideration taking 10 minutes for themselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Keep
you.
practicing. Remember, I call this the mother of all stress management. This really makes a profound difference.
All right, we're going to go ahead now and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap up, so stay tuned.